Another week, another Baron Banter here from the exclusive Tyler Zulli Basement Studio Extravaganza. Tyler Zulli, my brother Brandon Zulli, my good friend Mr. Chris Mateish joining us. We finally got back-to-back weeks of a full team. This is starting to show the makings of a legitimate podcast. I don't know what you guys think.
Now we just need viewers.
Yeah. Well, hey, we had more viewers in this past week than what we had on, I think, maybe any video total so far. So we're making good moves. Whatever Chris did to publish it on social media seemed to work so far.
Do it again, please.
Yeah, get right back on it.
Try my best.
So let's get to our first topic today, because I know we'll all have a lot to say on this topic. No politics, no Trump, no nothing. 2 weeks in a row, we're holding off. We'll probably be back on that shortly because God knows there's a lot to talk about. But today, we're going to start with some big news out of Disney World, Disneyland, just the Walt Disney Company in general. And that is, if you haven't heard, the Pirates of the Caribbean rides in Disney World, Disneyland, and Disneyland Paris will be getting a little bit of an overhaul in the coming months with a scene change from the ride. And that scene is there is a group of women who are on an auction block, and the pirates are auctioning for these women to be their wives. And you guys have been on the ride plenty of times. You can hear they'll say, we want the redhead, we want the redhead, talking about the one woman that's there. Well, recently Disney decided that part of the ride is no longer going to be in the ride. And I want to get your guys' takes on this. Is this a good move? Is this kind of just too political? What do you guys think on this one?
I think it's a good move in the sense of, we're kind of moving as a progressive nation. But it's also a bad move, in my opinion, because me and you are both, we love history, we love historic stuff, and this is changing history, There's not, I don't know how to say it, but I don't know what I want to say.
Okay.
Here.
All right. We'll get back.
Yeah,
we'll get back to you on that one. Brandon, what are you thinking?
I honestly just don't see the point. I mean, like Chris said, it is changing history, and back then, women didn't have rights pretty much at all. And, I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, there's prostitutes today. You don't go up there and be like, you don't just run up to them and go, you're not politically correct, and you just go, okay, they're there. We can't do anything about it.
How often have you seen a prostitute on the street, Brandon?
More than you'd actually think.
You don't go anywhere.
You know what? I think what I was trying to say is that to start out with, it's Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right.
Pirates
it's supposed
aren't
to be debauchery.
Good role models.
Right.
Well, this is the issue to begin with. What did they expect when they started a ride back when? Do you have the exact date the ride came out?
I think it was there when Disneyland opened. And
okay.
It was one of the originals.
One of the originals. Did they not think back then that maybe pirates aren't a great role model? And as we're becoming a more progressive nation, we're saying, hey, maybe the morals that the pirates live by are not something that we want our kids to be around.
Well, they weren't originally designed to be the role models. It was just the attraction to see, oh, look, pirates, we're back in a different time. It's not really until the movie came out that they started to be role models.
But then why would they be changing it? It's because the morals...
Because we live in the snowflake era.
True, but...
Everyone's a snowflake, everyone's delicate and fragile. You can't say anything, you can't do anything, because you're going to offend somebody.
Yeah, so Pirates of the Caribbean opened in Disneyland on the day that it opened, March 16th, 1967. It was opened on December 15th, 1973. In Disney World, it was, a lot of people believe that that this was the last ride that Walt had a personal hand in making in Disneyland. This was one of his kind of going away, his big deal rides, and it's been around again since 67 in Disneyland and 73 in Disney World. I can't imagine that, regardless of what kind of era we live in, political correctness era we live in now, that anybody is going to look at this and go, well, I don't want my children to see that because I don't want them seeing the degradation of women. When you're on a ride, that's about pillaging and plundering and burning houses to the ground.
Two things. One, your kids don't know what the hell is going on in the first place in that scene. Two, you see it for about 4.5 seconds, so it's not that big of a freaking deal.
Well, and that's the thing, Brandon. You mentioned the kids don't know what's going on in that scene. You're going through, and you're moving at a pace where you just see them. To me, when I was a kid, I wasn't looking at, oh, that's a prostitute sale for these pirates. To me, what that looked like was, oh, they just rounded everybody up. They're all tied up.
You know, as a kid, as I was seeing it, I forget the exact words that they have over it, but they say something about buy a wench or something like that. I thought a wench was a tool, like a wrench. You know what? Like, as a kid, and then, like, you know what? I think it was so, like, you know, common to me that I as growing up and going through Disney and seeing this ride constantly, that, like, not until this article and this big discussion came out about they're changing Disney ride, Pirates of the Caribbean, did I think, I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, they're auctioning women. Like, even as a 23-year-old man, I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about what that scene's about. There's probably so many hidden scenes within Pirates that you don't think about, like, wow, yeah, well, that's kind of...
Here's the thing. What you just said, they have a guy being tortured, being drowned in a well.
Drowned in a well.
We have such a discussion in this country about should we waterboard? Waterboarding terrorists is horrible. Yet we're exposing our child to drowning and practically waterboarding of some sort in Disney. It's pretty funny. Which is, who knows? They might be changing something like that soon.
God forbid.
But I swear, the main thing is, did they not think about this in the beginning? Like, it's pirates. Pirates are not good people.
Right.
Historically, pirates were not good people.
Pirates is supposed to be not only just for kids, it's supposed to be for the adults too, but like, oh, look at all that. Look at this. It's actually adult-themed, at least somewhat.
Right, well, and that's the thing.
Why change it into... I mean, they're changing it all into pure kiddie stuff, and while fine, you can do that for some stuff, you still have to rake in the adults too.
Well, and Disney World is a child's theme park, and nobody's ever going to sell you on anything else. It's not Orlando or Universal, where they have big roller coasters and large dinosaurs, and it's not Six Flags, where it's all just this coaster-intensive park. It is more of a child's themed park, but at the same time, Disney World is always advertised for the children and the children at heart, which is adults. There's no other way around it.
And now it's turning into the some children and the little girls. Everything's turning into princesses now. They turn...
To be completely honest,
it's Brandon, really not.
Well, no, I think it is, but Disney's most success over the last couple of years, movie-wise, has been princess films. I mean, we can... Frozen, Moana,
Tangled.
I can't describe the frustration I had when I heard that they changed the nor'easter in
the Maelstrom.
The Maelstrom
in Norway into a Frozen. I was like, are you freaking kidding me?
That could be our own topic. That could be a totally different topic, because I'm pretty sure that all kind of grinds our gears a little bit.
And you just mentioned it, though, Chris. It's about selling points.
Yeah.
And Frozen is, right now, the biggest Disney movie of the 21st century.
Oh, yeah.
You know? It's like, Frozen is effectively
The Lion
King or Toy Story of this next generation of kids.
Yeah.
You know, when we went batshit crazy as kids over a Toy Story ride or a game, or a Lion King ride or a game, or Aladdin ride or a game, the same thing is happening for Frozen right now. But you mentioned it's becoming a girly, little girls theme park, but you have to look at the other side of it too. Yeah, sure, there's a lot of princesses, but what else are they throwing in there? Everything is Star Wars. That's for the boys. The princesses are for the girls.
We discussed that before.
Right. Well, and that's the reason they're doing it. I know we're getting a little bit off topic here.
Do you think Pirates of the Caribbean is the most adult-oriented ride in the Magic Kingdom?
No.
In the Magic Kingdom?
Oh.
I want to say yes.
I would have to say yes, other than maybe like a Carousel of Progress.
Okay, one that you don't go in to go get your air conditioner break and fall asleep, which would be Carousel of Progress, Hall of Presidents, something like that.
Right.
The TTA.
Well, think about Splash Mountain. If you look closely at the whole story of it,
the story of Splash Mountain is completely effed up.
There's racial,
it's so racist.
Racial ties, and then there's like getting tortured and then thrown over the Briar Patch waterfall and all that. So that's pretty messed up.
So this is a great jumping off point that we.
Are they going to change that?
What else do you think they could change in Disney? Because back in 1990, I think we were discussing.
Yeah.
They changed Pirates of the Caribbean before, where the men were chasing the women around in one scene. Now they changed it so that the women are chasing the men. I think with like frying pans and rolling pins and stuff like that.
Well, and that's the thing. And even the pirates that still do chase the women, the women have trays of food now. Mm-hmm. So it's like they're chasing the food, not the women.
Yep.
But
like I said, I don't have a problem with that because it kind of makes it funny. I think they changed that after the movie, at least one of the first movie came out, and it was kind of like, oh, that's funny. They switched it up a little and they're trying to make it a little more like the movie. They add Jack Sparrow in at the end. It's kind of nice. I don't have a big problem with that one because it doesn't feel like that big of a shift.
Okay. Throughout Pirates of the Caribbean, they sing the lyrics, yo ho, pirates life for me. We pillage, we plunder, we rifle, we loot, drink up me yardies, yo ho. We kidnap and ravage and don't give a hoot. There is so much
change the song?
bad things.
Yeah.
So what is it like saying, okay, we're not cool with the kidnapping and the ravaging, but yeah, go and pillage and plunder and loot.
Shoot people.
And drink. Like, what is the message that, like...
Eventually they're just going to take it out. Like,
we're picking and choosing
what is good, what is bad.
Right.
You know? It's kind of weird what they're selecting to take out of the ride, which we...
The feminist, man.
I don't think it is.
I'm not going to go
I don't
there.
think it is. That's the thing. It's everybody.
I could see women saying they don't want their daughters to be exposed to things that you can get bought and sold at will
at an auction.
But again, this is a historical piece. This ride is
right.
It's not like, you know, even though our ideas and our ideologies are changing in America now, it's not reflecting. This ride doesn't reflect the present day. It reflects a colonial or pre-colonial time in the world.
You're looking at 1400s.
Yeah,
1500s.
exactly. So, I don't know. Do you guys see anything else changing in Disney?
Well, and before we get to that, I just wanted to read this part. We didn't bring it up. So, what's changing other than the sail itself? The sign that originally hung above them, above the women, was auction. Take a wench for a bride.
Okay.
And now it's going to be auction. Surrender ye loot. And that red-headed woman, who was kind of the staple point of the auction, because I mean, if you look at it, if you were to take a close look at that scene, she is this really sophisticated looking woman, very pretty, very well dressed, and the rest of them look like they're, regular, everyday 1400s mothers and wives. So I get why they are trying to specifically take her out. So what they're going to say, the redhead now will be a pirate who's overseeing the quote-unquote surrender of loot.
I think she's selling jewelry. Or
something along those lines, yeah. So
I don't see the point. It's like you said, it's changing history. Well, honestly, I don't think Disney has a problem with changing history. I mean, has anyone watched Pocahontas lately?
Lately, it came out a while ago.
With the knowledge you have now of what actually happened, you look at Pocahontas and go, no.
Not okay.
Just no. Come on.
So, Chris, what was your question again? I apologize. I kind of sidetracked this.
Because we're seeing this change, do you think it will spark any other changes in Disney rides? Do you think anything in Disney should be changed?
Right.
To fit more of a progressive mindset in America?
Here's the one thing that needs to be changed. Space Mountain. Make the bars higher up.
Well, you realize they would have to dismantle the entire track to do that, right?
Good. I don't want to get decapitated while riding.
You're significantly higher than what you think you are on that ride. There's significantly more room than what you give credit for. In terms of changes, the one thing that I hope Disney starts to do, and they've done it a little bit in Epcot, when Epcot came about, it was supposed to be a city of the future. It was that prototype city of tomorrow.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, as things have changed, we've gone 30 plus years with Epcot being open. I think those ideals need to change as well. So, changing rides in Epcot to me is a good idea to simulate the changing of the times. Bringing in Test Track and then upgrading Test Track. Putting in Mission Space. I think they were great ideas because in the 1980s, they may not have been feasible. Where now, looking from the 1980s to let's say 30 years from then in 2010, but from 2010 to 2040, the things that we think might happen in the future were even like too crazy for science fiction in the 1980s. So I think those things need to be changed as time progresses.
Well, they have, as we've seen.
Right.
Putting in Mission Space has been great. What do you call it? The new Test Track has been great.
Right.
New Planet Earth, in the big ball.
Oh yeah, they have upgraded Spaceship Earth. You're right.
Yep, that's what I meant. They completely upgraded that. They threw in a whole creation process and stuff because it's so funny as we towards the end of Spaceship Earth, prior to the change, we would see these things that were like, oh, in the distant future. It's like, no, we can go
in the now.
They're kind of basically showing stuff on FaceTime, and it's like, no, we kind of have that now. So they had to modernize that a lot. So that's great. They're positive changes. They're trying to try and keep up with our time and look on beyond that. But do you see anything that should change because our ideas have changed on subject matters?
Well, maybe we don't let Donald Trump speak in the Hall of Presidents.
Well, can we talk about that section? There's that section of Disney World that is like, what is it called?
Liberty Square.
Liberty Square, which is probably, it's pretty ironic because of all the different nationalities and type of people who walk through Disney and walk through Liberty Square. But if you go back as a historical timepiece that maybe only us three white guys would actually have been accepted in that time frame. So I find that pretty ironic that it's a very racist historical piece that we have in Disney World that kind of exists. As we were talking about, another racist section would be Splash Mountain has some racist undertones in it. Also hints of torture and stuff to Brer Rabbit.
Well, I wonder at what point, you think of Disney World and you think of their certain iconic rides, and to me, even Splash Mountain's not the iconic one of the Disney rides because it's a little bit newer. It's not one of your 1967, 1970, was it 73, 72, whatever it was, whenever those rides open. But one ride to me that may see some changes, and it's because of it's an inclusion factor rather than an exclusion factor, is It's a Small World. and hear me out on this one before I say this. When you look at It's a Small World, you have all these different nations represented and different languages and children of the world. But at what point is somebody going to say, well, my heritage isn't represented. I want my heritage in there. And then somebody else is going to say, well, if you're going to add them, add mine. And then at what point are you going to add all 206 countries or 196, however many countries there are? You going to put them all in there?
Yeah.
So it eventually, you think it might see some changes.
It's a Small World.
It'd be the longest ride ever.
Oh no. 30 minutes, It's a Small World is too much for me.
Yeah, it's a Small World. I mean, that's a great choice. And then it's almost like they have like a traditional. I feel like they have a traditional customs and traditional customs of the groups that they're showing in It's a Small World. But then it's like, how much of that is racist? Like, how much of it is a stereotype? Like the way that the African nations are perceived and how much the Asian nations are perceived in It's a Small World. Like, how much of that is kind of a racist stereotype? I mean, I haven't been on the ride in a little while where I can kind of look at how they're dressed or how they're acting, how they're interacting, how the animatronics are. But that's something to look at too. And this is me just putting on my liberal retarded cap right now, saying...
Oh, you can't say that word.
Libtard, sorry, as they call it.
Well, and what about Jungle Cruise? The natives on that ride?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so offensive. Why? Why is that offensive? They're plastic. Just let them be. Well, I mean, because think about it. Like, they have, like, all the big masks and like, they got spears, and, like, one guy is, like, scalping and and
right.
like and using shrunken heads and everything. It's
people
like,
argue that Jungle Cruise is extremely racist, and sometimes some of the, depending who you have, they do like borderline racist jokes as what is it called, the skipper, as they go through. So it's pretty interesting. Also to note, I think of all the times I've ever been on Jungle Cruise, I've only had a white male or female skipper. Like,
there's never been a minority boat operator once.
I would love to have somebody where it's supposed to be taking place like from the nation, like the cruise is going through, an Asian or an African or South American river. Like somebody from those nations be like, yeah, it's not really like this. We don't have people trying to scalp you and kill you in our country. Like that. So.
In this area over here where they're depicting, there's a mini mall now.
Yeah, right. They actually have Walmarts and all that good stuff.
Well, I don't know about Walmarts anymore. They're going out of business.
Also, moving on to maybe Disney Studios, the American movie ride, did they redo that?
They didn't redo the ride itself. The end montage.
It's so bad.
When they show all the movies.
Yeah.
And you have like Indiana Jones with the ball coming at you. It feels like it's So they changed that entire video.
It's so terrible.
Can I just talk about that though, real quick? I want to say that America's movie ride is probably the whitest of the white bread rides out there. They only show American, white American movies. There is no black entertainment whatsoever in that ride.
Well, you're 100% right. I mean, if you go through the marquee rides the marquee movies in that ride, Casablanca, The Wizard of Oz, Tarzan, Singing in the Rain.
The one with the swimmers, I can't remember what it's called.
But it's all white women.
Yes.
Yeah.
Raiders of the Lost
Ark.
For Casablanca and that one, the one we can't name. I mean, that's what the movie was. So I mean,
But what Chris is saying is there are more movies than white movies.
Well, true, but you kind of have to go with the classics, and if you change it too much, who
defines the classics? Who defines what's classic?
Well, that's the thing. I think they're just saying it's from the 40s, 50s, or 60s.
When segregation was around and nobody gave a hoot about black entertainment. Right. But who's to say that what they were doing back then wasn't great, too? It's just showing a very white side of America. And I think what I'm trying to say here is if we're going to change one aspect of, say, something like Pirates of the Caribbean where, our progressive thinking has changed, we can't have women being sold, it's not politically correct.
Right.
There is a ton of things in Disney that are not politically correct.
Right. So, that are actually worse.
Pirates. Like I said, in Pirates, I think the fact that they're drowning and torturing a man is worse than a woman being sold for auction. And maybe that's just the man in me, and I'm not seeing this from a female perspective. But I think that is worse.
Her life is not immediately in jeopardy where this man's is.
Yeah.
Now, her life could be in jeopardy down the line when she's sold. But this man in the well is likely going to die. So, it's, and again, I'm looking at all these different articles written. They're from everywhere from Orlando, Orlando-based newspapers to the New York Times are writing about this. There's, and some are saying some believe it to be sexist, or, again, we talk about the chasing of the scene, or the chasing of the women, the roles kind of reversed, and right now, Disney said, "We believe this is the right time to turn the page to a new story in this scene, consistent with humor, adventurous spirit of the attraction." Now, in this article, they asked somebody, and they said, based on the ideas, obviously nobody's seen it. Based on the ideas, it's not funny anymore, and it doesn't add anything to the scenes of the ride. So that's a viewer's take, and I think that might be more people's takes than what we are thinking about in this basement.
Now, all three of us don't.
What does it not add to? It's part of them pillaging a town.
No. The new scene is what he's saying doesn't add to it.
Yeah. What does that add to it?
Well, it's still they're pillaging the town.
Now, all three of us don't have children, but let's think about it this way. We said as children we never really thought about what that scene was, but let's say you do have a child, and your child says, "Mom, Dad, they're 5 years old, 6 years old. They say, what's going on? Why are they saying we want the redhead? What's going on in that
You want
scene?
to know what I tell them? I tell them they're buying wives. Why are they buying the wives? Why don't they just have the wives? I'll tell you when you're older.
No, see, that doesn't help.
That doesn't help. And to say, oh, they're buying the wife. Say it's a girl asking that, a little girl saying, well, am I going to be bought one day? And then that opens up a whole span of questions. So I think Disney is trying to get rid of those kind of questions or awkward family moments that might occur in their park, which, in their defense, might be worth it for visitor enjoyment. Not to offend anybody, not to have a lawsuit later on down the line, might be more worth it just to put, a couple $1,000s into a ride change, if it's even, I don't know how much that costs, but...
Well, and I think we can end it on this one, and this is a point that may play towards the strength of the ride changes. Walt Disney, before he died, said that Disneyland, and I would assume that parlays into Disney World and Disneyland Paris and Disneyland Hong Kong and now in Shanghai and everywhere around the world, Walt Disney said that Disneyland will never be finished as long as people continue to have creative imaginations and continue to think above and beyond right here and now. And that's, I think, why this ride is being changed, because, again, they're taking Walt's reflection and saying that, okay, we're changing the times, we need to change the ride. And that's, I think, what their big arguing point is for this. You guys got anything else on this little piece here before we wrap it up?
No.
All right, I thought that was pretty good segment in my opinion. I think we went a pretty good amount of time. We'll head to our first commercial break. On the other side, we'll get to my rant. Brandon's got another question for us, and we'll wrap things up with a little bit of festive holiday talk. You're listening to Banter. Welcome back into Banter. This is episode... 7. What is this, 7 now?
7.
7 episodes in.
7 weeks in.
We'll have a creative name title like we did for the last one. We'll figure it out as we get this thing uploaded and whatnot. You can catch us on YouTube at Easy Motor Earls. Find us on Twitter at Easy Motor Earls. I know Chris has been publishing us on his Tumblr page. I don't know if you want to give that information away as well.
It's kind of hard to find Tumblr, so...
Okay,
yeah.
So if you're on it, you know it. If you're not... just find us on YouTube or Twitter for now. We're still kind of actively searching for another outlet that we can find for another outlet to put this on, that we can maybe get it out to more masses than what we have right now. But for now, let's get back into our second segment here on Banter. This is going to be my rant. I'm going to get a little bit angry with this one. This past weekend, I was down in Atlantic City. Just on a short little vacation, a 3-day vacation, with my girlfriend, and went to a bar, and this bar was a karaoke bar. It was, it had like a lounge area, and there was even a room where you could rent out the soundproof room just to do karaoke with you and your friends.
Did you do the karaoke?
Not in that room, but I did karaoke regular.
Okay.
So, on the first night, this isn't part of my rant, this is just a little bit of a side topic. On the first night, we did Bye 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 by NSYNC. And then the second night, we did Sugar We're Going Down by Fall Out Boy. Because it was one of those bars where it was like, you can't really sing what you really enjoy, because you and I, they wouldn't have wanted to hear what we enjoy.
Yeah.
So you got to sing like either the 90s throwbacks, or country, or a pop song from today, like Bruno Mars.
Did you and Bridget do a duet together, or?
Actually, no. Me and Taylor did a duet.
You and Taylor.
Yeah, Joe's girlfriend. We did Bye 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 together. It was kind of funny. Bridget wouldn't sing with me. She wouldn't. I don't know why, but so regardless. So we get into this bar, right? And the bar has a rule. Once you step into the bar, there's no cover charge for the bar ever. But once you get into the bar, you have to have a drink. You have to have a minimum one drink.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't have to be alcohol. It could be alcohol. It also could be bottled water, soda. But you have to buy something. I've got no problem with that. If you're going to establish that rule, no big deal. But the problem I had is with this particular bartender. Now, there were probably 4 or 5 bartenders working and the guy running the karaoke stuff. But this one bartender, as soon as we walked in, was like hawk-eyeing us, saying, "What can I get you to drink?" "Oh, well, I'm not quite sure yet. Give us a second. We're going to figure it out." A minute later, you guys figure out what you want to drink? Can I get you something to drink? Just to let you know, remind you guys, there is a 1-drink minimum. It's like, lady.
Oh, the hover waitress.
Lady. Yeah, exactly. The hover waitress. It's like, lady, chill out. We're here. We're not going to leave without buying a drink. I promise you. Because we're all sitting here. We want to sing some karaoke. And we want to listen to people do karaoke. So obviously, we're not going to walk out without buying a drink. And if we do, I'm going to give you $5 before I walk out and say, here's for my drink. I don't even want it. Just take it. But the problem I have is hovering over top of me. Can I get you anything? What are you doing? What are you going to drink? And it wasn't a can I help you with anything? It was you guys have to order a drink. What can I get you? Have you guys ever had a waiter or waitress like that? And maybe not you have to order a drink because you may not be in a place like that. But have you ever had a waiter or waitress like that was just like over top of you and overbearing the entire time you were there?
You know, I think I feel like I experience that most when you go to a restaurant and it's not crowded.
Right.
And the waitress doesn't have a lot of customers to help. But she can't look like she's doing nothing because her manager might be around. So she keeps on coming up to your table. How's your food? Can I get you something else? Can you get you something else? And it's like, it kind of gets annoying because you're trying, whoever you're out with lunch or dinner or breakfast with, and you're trying to enjoy just that person. It's kind of like this third party intruder comes in and keeps on interrupting your conversations. And I understand where they're coming from, but it's also kind of like, I'd rather them not constantly come up and tell me something or ask me something and just like kind of let me enjoy the time with my family or my girlfriend or whoever I'm out to eat with.
Well, and that's the thing. Whether you're out with, mom and dad, brother, sister, or significant other, or even, even if we just said, me, you, and Joe are going to go grab some wings and a bite to eat. Mm-hmm. Like, when we're out together, especially when the three of us are out together, we've been friends for so long now, it's like, we just want to shoot the shit and talk and BS and reminisce about the old days and all that kind of stuff. You come up to us, you get us our drinks. If you come up and say, hey, can I get you a refill? Hey, can I get you anything else? I've got no problem. But it's when you start standing over top, it's like, are you trying to listen to our conversation?
Yeah.
What's going on here? Because
you're trying to absorb my food.
Yeah, right?
My favorite thing that a waitress or a waiter can do is that when you're eating, if just for them to stand off by the side and, kind of make eye contact with them. Just, like, raise your hand, tell them, like, hey, I might have a question or I need something. Could you come over real quick? You don't need to constantly be up my ass asking me, can I get you something else? How's your food? Is it okay? Is it all right? It gets annoying.
Well, my favorite one to hear is, she gets you your drinks, he gets you your drinks, you bring the food. If there's anything else I can do for you, let me know. I'll be around.
Yeah.
Because until my plate is empty and I want you to take it away from me, I just want to eat. And I just want to talk to my family or my friends or my girlfriend. If you say, I'm around, if you need me, just flag me down.
Yeah.
I'm so much more happy because then it's on me to get you. Mm-hmm. If I need another drink, if I need you to take my plate, then it's on me to get you, and I don't feel like you're hovering over me. You don't feel like you have to be super nice to me to get a good tip because in my opinion, if you're a good waiter, if you're an average waiter or waitress or above, you're going to get 20%.
Yeah.
I'm not going to shaft you on a tip. The only time you're going to get a crappy tip is if you're a terrible waiter or waitress or you hover over me like a hawk. That's when the tip starts to decrease.
Like that one we had in New Jersey last time me and you were down there.
And we were in New Jersey.
With mom, grandmom at the pancake place.
Oh, yeah. So me and Brandon were at an Uncle Bill's probably 3 or 4 months ago now. And, I mean, this woman was the opposite of Hawkeye. Like, she never came up to you at all. And that's not okay
and when
either.
She did, it was hard. Her first thing, when she came up, what's the first thing a waiter or waitress says to you when you sit down?
Oh, they welcome you. They ask if,
hey, how you doing? Can I get you a drink?
My name is...
My name is this. Her first thing is... She flops the menus, first of all on my hands. Just like,
and it's at one of the waffle or pancake houses, so it's probably drenched in syrup.
Black, 15 pages it was all sticky and all crap. Sticky, yeah. And her first thing isn't like, hi, how are you? It's, what do you want? I'm like, what?
That is that what you want?
What do you want?
What do you want?
Another waitress?
Yeah. And then, like, she never comes over, and then whenever she does, she's all rude, and she's just a horrible, just
Just a terrible
Just a
person.
horrible human being. And you were like, all right, so tip. Like, first 3 seconds when she left after we first saw her, me and Tyler both look at each other, look at our grandmother and our mom, and we go, no tip. No tip. And then they go, no, we'll probably leave a tip at the end of the meal. Our mom and our grandmom were like, our mom and our grandmom were like, no tip.
So
we were like, called it.
It got to the point where I think everybody Brandon had ordered coffee. And you know when you go out to eat, you get like the smaller white mugs.
Yeah.
You know, and they're probably 8 to 10 ounces.
Yeah.
So I got done my coffee, and I drank it. And I put it down, and it was empty, and I wanted more coffee. 5 minutes went by. 10 minutes went by. So I took
food goes by.
She brings our food out. So I took my cup, and I just tilted it upside down up in the air and held it there. And obviously nothing was coming out because there was nothing left in the cup. And I just held it there. And another waitress came up and she's like, can I get you more coffee? I'm like, please, thank you. I've been waiting for 20 minutes. So then our waitress finally comes up and she goes,
after
I got my coffee, it's like, can I get you guys some more coffee? I'm like, I'm good now. Thank you, though. But yeah, so you've got your polar opposites. This lady that didn't come to us at all, and hovering Hawkeye lady in Atlantic City, who kind of, it felt like she was peering into the back of my head.
I'll tell you, we over the weekend, my parents, myself, and my girlfriend, we went out to eat for lunch. I think it was Sunday, and I'll tell you about this just weird interaction that we had with the waitress. Was my parents ordered grilled chicken sandwiches. Me and Marissa, we ordered buffalo chicken sandwiches. So the waitress comes and she gives my parents their grilled chicken sandwiches, and obviously you can kind of tell that me and my girlfriend's sandwiches weren't ready yet.
Right.
So she asked my parents, she says, here you go, is there anything I can help you with? And then she looks at my girlfriend and I and says, is there anything else I can do for you guys? Are you guys enjoying your time here? And I'm just like, she's like, is your food okay? And I'm just like, I look at her strangely, like I stare at her for about 5 seconds and said, I'll tell you when I get my chicken sandwich. She's like, yeah, they're on their way out. Then I'm like, what the hell are you asking?
Right.
What are you asking if I'm enjoying? If you can get me anything else.
This air is delicious.
Yes, you can get me my chicken sandwich.
I like my water.
Like, it was just so weird because she stared at us like, can I get you guys anything else? Just like if she said, listen, your chicken sandwiches will be right out.
Right.
I'll be like, okay, cool, yeah, take your time. But when you ask me, like, it was just so bizarre.
Can I get you anything else? Yes, my lunch that I ordered.
Yeah, I'm like, my chicken? And she's like, she looked at me like, well, yeah, duh. And I'm like, so
where is it?
Yeah.
What about Tyler?
It's like that. You're going to give me the products that I ordered, and then at the end of this meal, I'm going to give you legal U.S. currency, and we're never going to interact again.
It's like, this is how restaurants work.
Yeah. They've been doing this for a long, long time.
So did you guys finally order a drink?
So we finally got our drink, right? So what happened was, I ordered so they have like a deal. Mm-hmm. You could order your drink, or you could do, it was 2 karaoke songs and a drink for $10. Which I guess if you think about it, is $6 beer, which is crazy expensive, by the way, but that's Atlantic City.
Yeah.
And 2 songs for $2 each. That's not an awful deal. So you could get a drink and 2 songs. So we all decided to do that. So Taylor went up, and then I went up. And then, so we had both ordered, and Bridget and Joe had not yet. Mm-hmm. And she gave us our drinks, and immediately, as soon as we took, so she was on the back side of the bar, and we were in front of the bar. As soon as she handed us our drinks, she walked around to Joe and Taylor, or Joe and Bridget, and said, are you guys going to get you anything to drink yet? And Bridget's like, yeah, I just don't know what I want yet. Chill out.
Now, was it like a big menu? Because I know sometimes you go to like a big drink menu. Because sometimes you go to places like
Oh, and you need time to think about it.
Like I go to some places where they might have like a large craft brew selection,
right? And
it's all written on a blackboard, and it takes me some time. Let me look at everything. Let me see what I might kind of like. Let me see if I remember that brewery's name to see if I want it.
Especially on a drink.
Like the Nifty 50 milkshake.
Right, yeah. Exactly. Especially a drink that you had never heard of before. Yeah. You've got to read the description. Yeah. I know what Yangling tastes like.
Yeah.
I don't know what Backdraft Woods Triple IPA tastes like. You know what I mean? I need to know what it's like.
And also, this isn't a major life decision, but when you're paying like $6 to $10 for a drink,
right.
You want to make sure you're going to get something that you like. You don't want to just be like spontaneous, be like, oh, get me this. I didn't need that $10 if I don't like it, and you can dump it down the sink.
You can just have it back. Yeah. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
You got anything on this, Brand? I know you obviously not legally able to go to the bars yet, but
I was wondering if you were going to tell about what type of drink and the journey for that. For your daiquiri?
Oh, so we're at this beach bar, right? It's an outside bar right by the beach. This is a different story, but, I had decided, well, okay, if I go to a beach bar, I want to order something fruity or something, something I normally wouldn't order if I was at, the Eddington House or something like that. So I looked at the menu and I'm like, I really want a banana daiquiri. I've never had one. I love bananas. I love rum, so it's got to be pretty good. I'm like, can I have a banana daiquiri? Sure. So she comes back to me and goes, we're out of bananas. How are you out of bananas at an outside bar that's first drink on the 4-page menu is banana daiquiris? It's literally banana daiquiri, strawberry daiquiri, 1 and 2. How are you out of bananas? So she's like, can I get you anything else? I'm like, you know what? No, I don't want anything else. You were going to get my money, and now you're not. So I was really pissed off about that. But that was a different story for a different time.
Well, because of the banana shortage that we have.
Is that a real thing?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, see, that would have made sense. I would have at least understood.
Is that a real thing? No.
Nope, not at all. Just kidding. All right, well, I didn't get as angry as I normally do, but yeah, that's my qualm for the week about Atlantic City and why all their food's so expensive and their alcohol's so expensive.
Next week we should all have banana daiquiris while we do the show.
We should. We'll sip banana daiquiris.
Yeah.
We'll hold them like this. We'll stir them in our hands.
We can go to Home Depot and get pounds of sand and pour it on
yes,
the
just
floor.
Put it on the basement floor.
Yeah, turn off the air conditioner and sweat a little bit.
Brandon's like, I hate that. I hate everything about that.
I like the drink part. Everything
after that.
From Home Depot to sand is absolutely horrible.
But you're alright with turning the air conditioning off.
No, everything from Home Depot to sand is horrible. Drinks, yay. Everything else, awful. Terrible.
Alright, so
terrible idea.
Maybe we'll just go find somewhere that'll give us a banana daiquiri.
How about we just go get some drinks?
That works too. Well, that's all I got for this rant this week. We'll have another one next week. We'll head to a commercial break. On the other side, we'll get to Brandon's question. We'll finish things up with a little patriotic festivity to end the show. This is Banter on YouTube, Twitter, Chris's Tumblr, somewhere out there in the universe, and a few other sites. Third segment time here on Banter, episode 7. We'll have this one uploaded for you tomorrow on Friday on YouTube and on Twitter. Chris will send it to Tumblr and Facebook, hopefully. We'll get things up and running and get some more followers and more viewers, and we hope you enjoy what we're getting at. As always, if you have any comments, ideas, qualms, you have problems with us, put it in the comments section on YouTube. Send us a tweet as well. You could tweet at us. You could put us in a direct message at Easy Mode Earls. You can also send one to me at Teasel34. Chris, if you want to put yours out there, you're more than welcome to. If not, we'll leave it at that. Well, all right,
we're good.
We'll leave it at that.
Leave it at that.
So, Brandon, this is generally the part of the show where you pose a question to us and we kind of have a little bit of a friendly debate. Yeah, it started out as stupid questions. It hasn't been stupid questions recently.
I feel like Brandon's stupid questions have been like some of the greatest questions.
Pretty thought-provoking.
Segment, so
yeah. Go ahead, Brandon. I'll turn this one over to you.
All right. So normally during the week we look for specific like big news for our first segment or something that like we think is really interesting. And usually while looking for these, we see news stations and newspapers. And 99% of the time I've realized they all have a certain bias. And honestly, that got me thinking of, is there at all a news outlet that is completely unbiased, or is that even feasibly possible?
Well, let me put this to you from the perspective of a journalist and somebody that's very, very close to a lot of these situations. at this point in time, I don't believe that there are unbiased stations or newspapers or websites. There are, however, unbiased journalists who still write in a way that are unbiased. I'll put it to you in this way. At the old station that I worked at, we were a Fox News affiliate. In fact, we were so Fox News affiliate that our headlining show was Rush Limbaugh. From 12 to 3, every single day, Rush Limbaugh was on my station. But I was the news anchor for that station. I'm not a Republican, and I'm definitely not a Rush Limbaugh right-wing Republican, but I worked for them. You know why? Because they wrote me a paycheck. But when I wrote the news stories every week and every day, the news stories were, this is what happened. A man died, a woman was arrested, a house was set on fire. It was never a right-wing, left-wing agenda news piece. It was just a news story. So I think that there are journalists who are still unbiased, but at this point there's really not a station or outlet that are totally unbiased.
But don't you think a station or an outlet that has journalists that write about both sides would make them a more unbiased station?
You would think the balance would be there, but I think it's getting to the point now where, especially if you write for a Fox News on the conservative side or a CNN on the liberal side, they're not hiring writers to do the opposite anymore.
Well, we kind of already know that both those stations and or news outlets don't tend to both political sides. That Fox News is right, CNN is left. But I'm saying about places, things in the middle, such as like NPR,
right,
or the Washington Post, New York Times. The New York Times is actually even more left slightly. So I believe my most unbiased news source that I get stuff from is NPR. I think they do a really good job with that. So, do you think that a station like that is more unbiased?
Well, and I think when you hire different styles of political banterists and different styles of writers, then yes, you're 100%. That's why NPR does a fantastic job of keeping it in the mainstream system where everybody can see it, but it doesn't skew one way or the other, and it doesn't go crazy far one way or the other. They do a good job because they allow for different shows. I don't listen to a whole lot of NPR, but I know that they're segmented in such a way where if they have a Republican show at 9 o'clock, they have a Democrat show at 12 o'clock.
Yeah. And the Associated Press is where I probably get almost all of my information from, a good amount of it, because I'll be honest, I am a Democrat, and for a long time I followed the Huffington Post, and it got to a point where it annoyed the hell out of me, because even as a Democrat, and I'm getting fed Democrat bullshit over and over again, I can look at it and be, see, you know what, I am not some blind follower just being led shit after shit and supposed to believe it. So I then started following more Republican, more right-wing posts such as The Economist and Wall Street Journal and The Hill. I did start following those sources, and then I followed MSNBC, I followed The Guardian, Huffington Post, CNN. So my question for you guys is it the responsibility of news stations to be unbiased, or is it the responsibility of the American people to be able to get information from both sides of the spectrum?
Well, when news first came out and when they first started doing publications, it was all opinionated pieces. You know, if you go back to the times of even the Revolutionary War, they were putting out pamphlets that were hyper opinionated. And then things started kind of getting localized, and then they went national. And when they went national in the early 1900s, and when radio first started becoming a thing in the 1920s and the 30s, everybody wanted the Walter Cronkite, this is the news. And you know what I mean? Yeah. Very flat line, very, this is the news, and this is how it happened.
Yes.
And then they started fringing off, one at a time, and TV became a thing. and podcasts became a thing. And that really allowed for segmented, augmented audiences and niche audiences to find exactly what they're looking for. And now today, I think it's the listeners' and readers' responsibility to go, all right, this is neutral, this is left wing, this is right wing, here's Rush Limbaugh way out here, and here are the hardcore Hillary supporters all the way out here.
Yeah. So it's funny just because I think as an American citizen and the American people, I think it's their responsibility to be able to get news from all spectrums, because they are not. Most of them are not borderline unbiased news. Everybody almost puts a spin on everything. But it's funny, I had a conversation with somebody one time. I'm not going to say name or anything. But I said, he said to me, I said, oh, I saw on CNN earlier. He said, CNN? Why are you watching that? And I said, it's just the news station I kind of go to on the TV. And I said, why? What do you watch? He says, Fox News. And I said, okay. I said, well, why are you watching Fox News? He says, because they tell me what I want to hear. That's
the problem.
That is the main issue and problem in America.
Right.
Is that nobody wants to step outside of their boundaries and go to things that they might not want to hear. Everybody wants to hear what they want to hear. They want to be pleased with the news that is given to them. Nobody wants to be upset or hurt or bothered by the news that is presented to them.
Now, I actually had a second question on top of this one. The main way I just find out, like, I don't usually watch the news for these kind of things. I go online, look for clippets. But for when I watch the news, I don't actually watch a news station. I watch John Oliver or The Daily Show. Now, I'm being
that's pretty liberal.
I'm being honest. I'm not taking it from the liberal standpoint. Who do you trust more, them or other news stations?
Other news stations.
Well, listen to this.
That is the definition of fake news, what they are.
I know that. But apparently, in 2014, Jon Stewart was rated more trustworthy than MSNBC.
By who? His viewers?
By the Huffington Post.
Well, there's your problem to begin with. You're being fed what you want to hear.
That's not what I want to hear. I'm just stating what they said.
But you're using it as a fact right now.
I'm not using it as a fact.
Make your
I'm
argument.
just saying what they said. I'm asking you, what do you trust more? Because some people
I trust a genuine journalist.
Because some people apparently trust John Oliver or Jon Stewart for the news. I watch them because they're funny as hell.
Right, but you're not taking your...
But some people are watching them for the news that they give. Like...
Yeah, those people are part of the problem.
Are they trustworthy enough, like, since they're comedy shows, to be giving the news? Or
no, it's an entertainment purpose.
They are not your journalist in your typical sense of journalist. I will put it this way. I bet you if I go onto John Oliver's page, life page, I bet you he has a journalism degree. I'm going to take a look now and see. Because of course he's going to have to in order to... There we go. Let's see. John Oliver. Let's see what he's got. In order to have the ability to do these kind of shows, I bet you he has some kind of degree in that sense. His alma mater is Christ College in Cambridge. So let's see. Education... okay, so it doesn't tell us, but he was a comedy troupe. So there you go.
He probably has some kind of publication.
Some kind of communicate. It doesn't have to be journalism, but some kind of communications degree that allows him to do what he does.
But can we be honest? He isn't the one going out and getting the information.
No, he's just the one that's the funny
the entertainer.
voice. Yeah.
He's the presenter of the information. You can't be getting your information from the Daily Show or what's his name? John Oliver.
But here's another question, actually.
Sure.
Say that people get their news from this. Do you think it would be better if other news stations started to become more unbiased so that they could draw in other people? Or do you think they should just stay the same and have people stay where they are?
There is no pulling everybody. And that's why they've gone and separated the spectrum so far. Like I said, everybody in the Walter Cronkite era was right in this mainstream line. They may have skewed a little bit one way or the other, but this has mainstream skew, hyper-partisan, and then, well, you're almost a conspiracy theorist, but most of them strayed no further than skew line either way in the liberal conservative way.
Is InfoWars in conspiracy theories?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Breitbart and
Breitbart?
Breitbart and
The Blaze and Red State's pretty close too.
You know what I love, and maybe our viewers have experienced this too? When you go on Facebook and somebody, no matter what side it is, posts an article, and you're just like, where did they get that information from? And then you see, like,
News.
Yeah, something like, Occupy Democrats. And I'm like, of course it's going to have a liberal spin to it. And then it's just like, death to Obama.com or something like that.
Right.
And it's just like...
So would you guys say everyone is going more towards the super far left or far right news stories, or are they trying to get somewhere in the middle?
Well, not everybody, right. And remember, if you look at these ones that are considered like the liberal conspiracy series or the conservative conspiracy theories, how many views does Natural News or InfoWars have in comparison to Huffington Post and Fox News, who do go in one direction or the other, but they're not as crazy as those almost sensationalized article writers and story writers. And you look at it, and those Huffington Post and Fox News blow them away. I mean, absolutely blow them away.
Yeah.
So there is a people think that Fox News is crazy right-wing, or that even Huffington Post and CNN is going crazy left-wing. But there is no comparison to some of these other sites that have kind of a niche audience and a contingency following, rather than the high level of amount of viewers that the Huffington Post and Fox News get, which are less conservative and less liberal than what you think they are. So to answer your question, no, not everybody falls on one crazy end or one opposite end of the spectrum.
Which question?
Of which
It's a joke. I'm sorry.
But to answer your overarching question,
for the first question, do either of you think that we ever will again have unbiased news?
No.
Or
No.
No? Never again?
No.
because one of two things is going to happen. You're going to continue to have a democratic, free press availability like you have here, and that's why you get spectrumized either way, or you're going to end up with a nuclear fallout, one news source, and it's the president probably goes on the TV every day and says, here's what's happening, and you have to believe it.
Well,
those are your two options.
With this president, he is on the TV every day, and what he says, most people don't believe.
Right, yeah, right.
Yeah. I think, honestly, one of the best things you guys can try and do, I get all my news sources from Twitter. Just follow everybody on the spectrum. Besides the crazy conspiracy theorist type of news, like I don't follow Breitbart, or I don't follow Occupy Democrats, or what do you call it, Natural News. I don't follow their sources.
The Breitbart head, the head of Breitbart, is in Trump's cabinet.
Oh, what's his name?
Steve Bannon.
Yeah, Steve Bannon. Yeah,
Not a surprise.
not a surprise there whatsoever.
We're getting off track.
Yeah, but follow all these sources. Make yourself an educated American, where you're not
Form
just
your
looking
own
at.
opinion.
And make your own opinion, most
But
important.
by gathering the information
Right.
on both sides, make your own opinion.
Don't just get one side and then go, oh, okay, that's all there is.
Well, that's the thing. If you believe what Fox News has to say after you gathered your opinion, if you believe what the Huffington Post has to say after you've gathered your opinion, then fine. Nobody's going to stop you. But do your homework. Do your due diligence.
Now, I took a class back in college. It was like media and perception of the media. It was a communications type of class. And my professor told us, and I didn't really check it out, on PBS, supposedly they have nightly news, world nightly news.
Okay.
Something like that along the lines. I never watched us. She told us to. Maybe I should have. And she said it was like the most unbiased news show out there. That it did not take a stance on either left or right. NewsHour. That was it. NewsHour. And it did not take a stance whether it was left or right, but they did more in-depth news stories. So, like, instead of doing, like, 5 to 3 to 5 minute segments of news stories. They did like a 20-minute segment and really went into all the details of the story, but then also did not take a political spin on it. So maybe that's something that we have hope for in the future. But I'm pretty sure our lovely president is planning on canceling PBS.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's still in his budget cut, so maybe we won't have that anymore.
Well, as we wrap this up, I just want to end it on a lighter note. You talk about this PBS NewsHour.
Yeah.
One of the headlines is about the Senate healthcare plan, and the governor of New Hampshire said it's not a viable option. The governor of New Hampshire's name is Governor Sununu. I just thought that was kind of funny. Sounds like he should be in Star Wars.
General Sununu.
But to answer your question, Brandon, no, we will never have unbiased news again.
Never?
No.
And maybe at this point in our country, I feel like we've never been divided more than ever. So of course the news is going to follow.
I think at one point we were more divided. Gray and blue.
They weren't part of the country.
Yeah.
We can get into that argument later, but they were not Americans.
Okay, got anything?
Anything else you want to talk about before we?
All right, I think I filled my question quota for the next 6 weeks.
Where do we land on the political spectrum as this podcast?
I feel
as a whole or individually?
Well, honestly, I mean, you're a Republican, aren't you?
No, I'm a.
I think you're with me.
I would consider myself a conservative Democrat.
I'm a centrist.
When it comes to liberal issues, I'm good with all of the rights and things like that. Gay marriage, equal rights, women's rights. Let's have it. Yep, I 100% agree. When it comes to the money aspect of the liberal agenda, that's where I don't agree. And that's where I find myself on the conservative spectrum. And I think I agree with you. I think we're pretty much right down the middle.
Okay.
But I think if anybody here is farthest to the left, it's probably Brandon.
I like to say I'm more on the
Occupy
side.
Democrats.
I think I'm more on the side of logic. Anything that sounds reasonable, I would agree with.
I think that where I think that maybe me and Chris might be conservative Democrats. I think I might rethink that. I might consider myself a liberal Republican. I think I want to rephrase that. Yeah. I would consider myself a liberal Republican, where I think, Brandon, you might be a conservative Democrat.
Probably.
They're pretty similar. Pretty much the same thing. But yeah, I would consider myself a liberal Republican who is just registered in the Democratic Party.
All right, well.
Anything else?
I think that answers all my questions.
That'll do it. That was a long segment.
That was a 20-minute... I think that's the longest question segment
might be.
We've ever had.
Let's head to our...
It was also the most questions I've asked.
That's true.
In an entire segment.
Let's head to our final commercial break. On the other side, we're going to get a little patriotic, talk a little bit about holidays, our favorites, least favorites, and underrated holidays to end the show. We'll have a little bit of fun. It'll be more lighthearted. This is Baron Banter. Final segment here on episode 7 of Baron Banter. Check us out on all those sites that I've mentioned multiple times. If you've been listening throughout, you know where to find us. Tyler Zulli, Brandon Zulli, Chris Matase here for one final segment. We're going to talk holidays now, and as 4th of July just passed, you celebrate by wearing American clothes, you listen to country music, and go swimming.
We remind the sky who runs shit.
Pretty much. You send off bombs, controlled bombs, basically, into the sky. So, with 4th of July just passing, it's a fun time, it's warm, you get to go to the beach or go swimming, drink a lot of beer, have barbecue, all those good times. Chris kind of came up with this idea of what are the holidays that mean the most to you? What are your favorite holidays? And it doesn't just have to be, Christmas, because everybody loves Christmas. Really think about it. What's your favorite holiday? Brandon, I'll start with you.
Christmas.
Okay, you're going to give me any more detail than that?
I love Christmas is because, at least in the past few years with our family, everyone in our family was there, and I just love everyone being here.
I love the coming together.
I love the entire family being together.
Does that not happen for any other holidays for you guys?
Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, it happens, but sometimes it's not everyone.
Right.
And after that, it's all on your own.
Well, I have a comment to make about you loving Christmas because of the coming together. You are the kid that sits in this basement and doesn't interact with anybody while we all sit upstairs.
I go into the basement late at night when everyone is plastered because I don't feel like dealing with drunk people. And I don't talk much, but I still love being around the family.
You like listening and hearing everybody. Yeah, you just enjoy being around the people. I understand that. What's you, Tyler?
I have two that are kind of my 1 and 1A, but I think my other one is your favorite, so I'll leave that one to you.
Okay.
So I'm going to go, my favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving to me is just the perfect day of doing absolutely nothing and getting away with it. How many other days do you get to get up, maybe you go watch your old high school play a football game, you get up, you go watch your old high school play football, then you go home, you take a nap, then you get up, you watch some NFL football, you go to whoever's house, you eat this incredibly awesome dinner at an outrageously early time in the day, and then after that you watch more football and take another nap.
Yep.
Like, that sounds like the best day in the world to me. Food, football, and naps. I love it.
Football's my favorite sport. And there's just something about that day of Thanksgiving, the eating and the football and the constant. It's just like, it's such a relaxing day.
Yeah,
and
it really is.
I'll say that as it was the most relaxing day as a teenager when you were on break. You were on break for Thanksgiving. As you get older and you might have a job on Thanksgiving.
And you have to work on Friday.
Or you got to work on Friday. The specialness of Thanksgiving has slowly faded away.
Right. But at the same time, I mean, even if you have to work on Friday, it's not like Christmas. I don't know about you guys, but our Thanksgiving's generally over by like 8 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock at the latest. Where I could still be in bed by 10:30, 11 with a full belly, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
On Christmas it's a little bit longer. Everybody kind of hangs around a little bit later. That's the only difference for me.
It all depends. Everybody has different traditions, which I would love to talk about in this segment too. What is your guys' traditions for different holidays? My tradition for my family has been later at night at Thanksgiving around the 9 or 10 o'clock hour, my older cousins would take me and my brother and I to the movies, and we would go see the newest Disney movie that would be in the theaters. Which then now me and my brother are kind of continuing with my little cousins of taking them to the movies. So sometimes Thanksgiving doesn't end till about midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning for me, depending when we see the movie and at what time.
Right.
So Thanksgiving can be a very long day for some, and it all depends on your traditions.
See, that's the opposite with us for Christmas. Like, Thanksgiving is probably your big day. Christmas is ours. Like, everyone in the family is there. It doesn't stop until like midnight. That's when people start going home.
Well, and the good thing about Christmas for us is it's here. So we don't have to go anywhere.
I feel like everybody celebrates Christmas at their house, which I don't know how that works, but everybody does. I don't know anybody that goes away for Christmas.
Where'd you celebrate Christmas? My house.
Okay.
Didn't you come to my party?
So as you were saying,
at my house.
Christmas is a little bit bigger, you think, for you guys.
Right.
Christmas is a 3-day special event in my family.
Oh, okay.
We go 3 days for Christmas. We celebrate Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and we do a special day after Christmas.
Well, that's when we do his birthday.
That's when I get shafted.
Nobody's off 2 days after Christmas. Everyone's off the day after.
Yeah.
So we just go out for his birthday on the second day.
That's awesome.
And technically, if you want to get technical about it, December 24th is our dad's Christmas.
Well,
so we have a 3-day extravaganza
You guys have a 3-day Christmas too. I think Tyler covered one of my favorite holidays, which was Thanksgiving, and like I said, I love the food. Turkey is my favorite kind of meat. Can I say that?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So my family doesn't make turkey any other day besides Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you don't get a full big bird turkey.
Well, if we're talking about the food, see, that's why, again, I love Christmas.
Yeah.
We always have this amazing honey glazed ham. I love honey glazed ham.
That sounds awesome.
It's so delicious. And it's got like the slow roast in the pressure cooker or whatever. It's so good.
So you covered that. I think I want to say my favorite holiday is the patriotic one that just passed. I love 4th of July.
It's a great day.
I have so many good memories of 4th of July. I think one of them being that it's the middle of the summer.
Right.
You don't really have a care in the world. It seems like everybody and their mother is off that day. Nobody has any plans. We always had 4th of July at my aunt's house. She has a pool. I remember swimming all day, barbecue, music playing, fireworks later that night. I remember it's just a fond memory to me. And I know a lot of people, they do parades, they go to fireworks, they go to musical events and stuff like that throughout the day. What do you guys do for 4th of July?
Well, I sat here.
Yeah, we actually did nothing for this 4th of July particularly, but normally 4th of July is one of those holidays recently where I know you're always with your family, so it's kind of difficult to hang out with you, but I like to hang out with my friends on 4th of July. Hang out with the younger crowd because, we could all just kick back and listen to music and have a couple of brews and...
Well, listen, next year, you guys are more than welcome to do something with me on 4th of July because I just sat there and kind of drank by myself. True. I mean, I didn't really... All my cousins are now little and... not of drinking age at 5 or 6 years old.
Well, you're kind of in it. You're kind of just, I think, very much like me and Brandon, where you're kind of in a bad spot where your older cousins are a pretty good gap in between you, and your younger cousins are a pretty good gap in between you. So it's kind of just you and Dan.
It's me, Danny, and then
me and Brandon's the same way.
You guys are more than welcome to come and drink with us.
Here's the difference between you and me. You can legally drink.
Well, that's true. Legally, I can.
So you can go hang out with the big kids.
The big kids. There are no big kids. We are the big. We're not even kids anymore. We're adults.
Yeah. I'm a kid, technically.
You're not.
I'm a teenager.
Yeah, but you're not a kid. You're above 18. You're an adult.
What do you guys? What's your opinion on Halloween?
I love Halloween. If you go out, it's so much fun. But if you just want to chill and hang back, you can just switch your light off or just chill and watch a plethora of scary movies.
See, I love Halloween. I'm absolutely the horror movie buff. I love all things scary. I love supernatural stuff. Not to show that much, but I just love supernatural things. For me, Halloween is so much fun in the build-up. The build-up of October.
Right.
My girlfriend and I, we watch at least 2 to 3 horror movies every single weekend, starting at the end of September up until Halloween night. We watch a plethora of horror movies. We throw a big Halloween party where everybody gets dressed up and plastered, and it's a lot of fun. Where almost like the day of Halloween, the actual holiday, is such a letdown.
It really is.
That it's like I love the build up for Halloween, but the holiday just doesn't live up to expectations for me.
Well, you said the build up was the best part.
Yes.
And unfortunately, the one bad thing about Christmas is that it's going to overtake Halloween one day.
It is.
We're going to see, October 1st, you're going to see a Christmas tree in the mall instead of a pumpkin or something.
Well, Christmas doesn't even let my holiday live anymore. So I can't imagine.
Thanksgiving has been swallowed by Santa.
It's coming for...
It's coming. It's slowly going to be, February 2nd, got to start planning for Christmas.
Pretty much. That's pretty much how it's come at this point.
Do you guys have a least favorite holiday?
I do.
What is yours?
Easter.
Yes, for our Catholic listeners. And
Here's why I liked Easter. Because it got me off from school.
Yeah.
Here's why I don't like Easter. Because it makes absolutely no fucking sense. So we go from the glorification of nailing a man to a piece of wood.
I don't think that's the main message of Easter.
Him dying and rising from the dead 3 days later. To
a bunny!
To a magical bunny who lays chocolate eggs. What?
Yeah, I agree with you. Easter is one of my least favorite holidays.
You really do nothing for Easter.
You don't. It's really like
it's
you have to get dressed up, and it's like usually you have to get dressed up, but it's starting to get warm out, so you're just sweating in dress clothes all day. That's annoying. I'll tell you, my least favorite holiday has to be Labor Day. Is that the most depressing day of the year?
It really is. Everybody wants to celebrate it, but then it's like,
it's like the saddest party that you ever had. It's like the saddest barbecue.
Yep. And then it's just like, I guess summer's over.
Yeah.
Let's all make the best of this right now, because if we don't, we're never gonna see summer again.
Honest question, not that honest, this is kind of a joke, but do you think by Labor Day in a couple of years we'll be setting up our Christmas decorations? Do you think?
It's coming. Well, the good news is with Labor Day...
Yeah, Happy New Year's. I'll get that tree up.
The good news is with Labor Day lately, and probably because of global warming, is Labor Day doesn't really mean the end of summer anymore. It's, you still have...
It's the beginning of spring.
You still have 3 or 4 more weeks into September, and maybe even into October if you're lucky, of nicer weather, in the 70s and things like that.
Nowadays it's summer, spring, summer, spring, 2 days of snow.
2 snow days, and then
back to spring.
Pretty much. But, Labor Day is very, very just... now what? Now bring on the snow. Now,
or New Year's Day, and you're like, shit, I got 365 days of this shit.
Yeah, right. Well, and that's...
I gotta go to work tomorrow. Why do I do this?
That's my least favorite holiday is New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve? Why? How come?
Because New Year's Eve, when you look at New Year's Eve, I think of New Year's Eve very much like family vacation. There is such a precedent and such like a need to have fun. It's like mandatory fun that you have to go and do something and dress up and hang out with all these people and drink alcohol. And then at the end of the day, you're like, I could have done this any day of the year I wanted to. Why is it special today?
Because we made it around the sun again.
Yeah, congratulations. We made one cycle around the sun.
You know what? I think you gotta make... You don't have to make it special, but you can do things that are going to give you a different perspective on New Year's Eve. Like one of my greatest memories for a holiday would be New Year's Eve. I went to a log cabin with my friend and his family and a couple of other families one year, and that was the best New Year's Eve I've ever had. We all were just stuck in this log cabin up in the Poconos. We had a ton of alcohol. It snowed. We were practically snowed in.
Right.
And it was just such a good time that you can make it special. But don't go out of your way to make it special.
Right.
Don't say we have to have the best time of our life tonight, because it's not gonna. You're gonna be.
It won't happen. Yeah, you're gonna get disappointed at the end of the day. You got anything else, Brad?
No, I'm good.
And I think the revolving factor, it seemed like, on all of our holidays, whether they were good or bad, was alcohol. Brandon has some pretty negative memories of Christmas and alcohol. Me and you have some pretty positive memories of 4th of July and New Year's Eve because of alcohol. Yeah. So, moral of the story, I guess drink. If you're legally allowed to.
For the good or for the bad.
Yeah, just drink.
You're still going to be drunk.
Alcohol will be there for you at the end of the day. But I guess that's what we're trying to say.
Two things.
Know your limits.
Know your limits. Know what kind of drunk you are.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're an angry drunk, don't get drunk. If you're a sad, cryy drunk, don't get drunk.
If you're a happy drunk.
If you're like Chris and he just likes to sing, get drunk. Because he's fun when he gets drunk.
If you're a mere guy, get drunk.
We should have a drunk episode.
Wait one more year.
1 year from now when Brandon's 21.
Brandon's 21st. We'll do a drunk episode.
Hold on, Brandon.
1 year and...
Let's see.
1 year and 8 days.
Let's see the calendar for next year.
What drink are you looking most forward to trying,
Brandon turns 21 on a Saturday, so a Friday night into a Saturday.
Yeah.
Which means we probably could get away with doing the podcast on a Friday and just pretending like it's Brandon's birthday.
Oh, no, we would never do that, FBI. Who's listening in?
All right. Anybody got anything else?
I think that's pretty much it for the day.
That's the ending point.
Let's wrap it up for the day. For my brother Brandon Zulli, my good friend Mr. Chris Matase, I am Tyler Zulli saying thank you for tuning into this and every episode of Banter. If it's your first time, especially welcome. If you've been with us every episode, thanks for sticking with us. We hope you enjoyed this one, as well as all of the other 6 episodes we've done so far. We'll put another one out each week. Each Friday they will come out on YouTube, on Twitter, on Chris's Tumblr and Facebook. I'm going to start posting it on my Twitter as well, and more consistently, I should say. So hopefully we get a couple more viewers after that. So thank you guys for tuning in as always. Have a good week.